You were saying that you have recently become aware that when I leave here, I seem to get pulled back into personality very quickly.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've seen you kind of leave, kind of elevated, like very. I was going to say high, but I feel what happens when you come here, and when we have these discussions, that you access something. And what is it you access? Well, I would say you access in you what I'm sharing and what I'm talking about. So you have a real experience of it. It's not just a mental thing or a conceptual thing. There's a real experience of it. And that alters your body and your mood and your psychology and everything. I've noticed that when I speak to you, perhaps on the phone, even that night or the next day, that there's almost like a very different Matthew that I speak to. Now, I would say that I'm not different. One thing about this, there is a constancy. Now, there's certain things that change, of course. Feelings can come up and this and that. But there is a certain constancy. But what I saw change in you, what I can see change in you when I contact you afterwards, is that Matthew who was here has gone. So the question arises, well, what is that Matthew? Well, I would say that was personality. And it's almost like I can see the reaches of the group personality that you're in, kind of embracing you again, and you being a part of it, and that psychology of that arising in you. And the psychology of that is not of the freedom that we're kind of talking about here. It's of possession and manipulation and stress and all of that. So what I'm saying is you can have experiences of this and of your true nature in an opening. You also mentioned earlier that you're in this new job, you're working, and you had an experience of non-doing, which was lovely. So this can reach one in all sorts of ways, in free gifts, what I would call free gifts. But what I'm talking about is not a life like that, where it's benign, basically, and you have some spiritual experiences, meaning that they're beyond your personality. But basically, you're rooted in this thing, this personality you've known all your life with its history. So obviously, the whole thing is called life beyond personality. I'm talking about something different to that. So this is not about having pep talks or having, like highs and being prompted into those highs. I mean, all of that is good and there's nothing wrong with that. But I happen to be talking about something different, which is what is beyond that. And I'm trying to describe and express a way of living that doesn't continually refer back to that reference point of the personality.
Well, one thing that came up when listening to this was just how easy it is to go into personality, how it's like a comfortable old pair of trainers or something that you just slip on.
Well, it is who you think you are. And because you think it's who you are, it kind of is what you are, because it is your experience. It is what you live. It's like if you believe something to be true, it is true for you, because it becomes your experience. It's not from outside of you. It's not necessarily true. Do you see what I mean? So that becomes your experience. The comfortableness of it is what keeps you tethered to it. And you could argue there's nothing wrong with it. It is just something that's happening. But from the point of view of freedom, and I'm talking about freedom in a very specific context, freedom from the suffering that arises from that personality one could say there's something wrong with it. Wrong is a difficult word. It's not advantageous to that freedom. It's actually blocking it. The only reason we're talking like this is because you have had the experience that there is something beyond that world of that personality, and what that is free of that suffering, and therefore you want it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And then the problem that comes is that you want that, but how do you get free of that? And that personality has such a life force, and I often describe it as a kind of, it's like a world that's got its own laws, its own beliefs, its own energy system. It's an entity, and it wants to continue, it wants to persist. And you, what we call you, has aligned yourself with this entity, which is in fact, I was going to say it's a fallacy. Like I said, it's in a way it's not, because it's your real experience. And I'm not just talking about you. It's one's real experience. If you align with the personality, that's what you live. So it's real for you. But you have had experiences and openings and that have shown you that there is something beyond it. So you have this dilemma. Anyone in that position has this kind of dilemma of, I want that, but I'm aligned to this, and this is comfortable, and it wants to persist. And even though there's some part of you, the choiceless awareness, that wants to go in the direction of this is stopping and working against that happening. So it's a very weird kind of contradiction that arises when a real spiritual search happens. Because there's two contradictory forces going in opposite directions.
It's like an anchor, the personality. It doesn't want to move on, doesn't want to go anywhere. Just
it's what you know, and what you know, what seems to be true, and what seems to be who you are. But you, like I said, because you've had the openings, you know that there's a part of you that knows that it's not all you are. But the pull back to it is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I can almost feel the sort of personality just going, you're talking shit, just... Or
say more about that, what it says. Then.
Well, it's like, this is me. It's not what Jess says, it's all... okay, it might all be these sort of quirks and, whatever, but, that's the real Matthew. Jess is talking bollocks. The real Matthew isn't this. Well, the real Matthew sounds like nothing. It's got no character, no interestingness to it,
So is that how you see me then?
No, but,
Why is that then? So the character doesn't go.
I know. That's, I guess the personality is claiming, aspects of the character, isn't it?
I think there is a belief that can come about this, that I am this, and if I lose that, what is left of all the stuff that makes me me? So there's a distinction I make in the book between character and personality. And I mean, I know you know this, but I'm saying for the viewer, that the character is one's traits and talents and every quirk that makes you individual and different from me. And that is not what I mean by personality. That's character with a capital C. And personality is what arises from the wound and the separation from love, and the idea that you are this totally shrunken version of that life force, which consists of emotion and unhappiness and beliefs and the history of suffering. So, to be clear, to disengage from personality is not to lose the character. In fact, the character
becomes stronger without the...
It absolutely can shine, because all the things, the suffering of the personality and the beliefs that can constrict that actually have gone. So, creativity, for example, becomes phenomenal, I would say,
What? Because you don't have the character, the personality, and all its doubts and devices, and sabotaging you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, basically, personality restricts the character and the essence of how you've been made and what you can achieve and whatever you are. So I would say all of that is unleashed even more. And of course,